Hey, what is going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and welcome to one of the year-end videos here on the channel. This has been a tradition I've been doing for damn near 10 years now at this point. And this is just talking about all the games that I have finished for this year in 2025. Now, I do want to preface this here by saying that if you haven't seen one of these videos before, first of all, welcome aboard. Secondly, there's not going to be too much in terms of visuals here, so you can have this video kind of running on the side or like listen to it like a podcast or something. In terms of visuals, it's going to be me talking to you like this. Lily's going to be on the side there, and I'm going to have some trailers and all that stuff that will be played, but aside from that, there's not really going to be all too much visually going on, including... Okay, I just have the attract mode there. I thought the system was frozen, but it's not. Y'all will see what game that is here soon. But I do also want to give credit where credit is due on this. You see, I've been doing this for, I think I started this in 2016, I want to say, so next year it's going to be 10 years. But the reason why I started doing this was because in 2015, I ended up graduating with my degree. In 2016, that's when I started working full-time, and I was still gaming and such, and it was kind of twofold. Part of it was I used to, and nothing against it here, I just don't really listen to it or watch it anymore, but this is from Broken Games HDR, another YouTuber who has a still running podcast, I believe, called the Weapon Wheel Podcast. Now, what they would do was all the people on there, they would tally up all of the games that they ended up finishing during a year, and during the last episode of the year, they would then compare their games, and whoever beat the most games ended up winning. I thought that was a really cool idea. And in 2016, what happened was I started, I've always wanted to like continue to play games, right? I was still playing games. I was still enjoying myself. I was still just having a lot of fun gaming. But it was something I didn't really want to let go of, working in the corporate world and such. And I've always prided myself on being able to finish games, because sometimes it's a little difficult where I just like hop from game to game to game to game and platform to platform. So I think a few months in, I noticed that I was able to beat at least one game a month. And I said, let me just, I just want to stick to this, right? It's important to me. I want to stick to it. So I think it'll be a cool thing. And this is the video right here, I would say, every single year. If you want to get technical, this is the video I spend the most time working on, because I have to talk about all the games I end up finishing, and that still guarantees, really, I kind of challenge myself to beat at least one game a month, which... when you become an adult and all that, it tends to be harder than you'd expect, because there are people, like, it happens every single year. There's people who, when I share my game list and such, and I share how many games I finished, people get excited. There's been a lot of people you're going to see in the comments, they started joining in, they watched this video a year, 2 year, 3, 4 years ago, and they've started trying to do this every year, and even they acknowledge, they're just like, it is harder than you would expect to finish one game a month sometimes. Like, when life is really hitting you, when you're busy, when you just don't feel like it, it becomes a little bit difficult. And there's other people, they're like, wow, I played a lot of games, but now looking at my list, I only finished like 3 games this year. So it's kind of something nice to finish off on that. But again, just kind of want to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to Broken Games HDR to kind of starting this here on my channel. I don't have any affiliation with him, never really talked with him directly or anything, but just something that I thought was cool. And then this is just something I've continued to do. So yeah, for anybody who's wondering, for 9 years in a row, I have finished at least one game a month. Now, the other thing I want to talk about before we get into this is something that I talked about at the beginning of last year's video, I believe. You all might notice that this is a really small game pile here, and I was hoping it wouldn't get to this point so soon, but the reality is that for as long as I'm going to continue to do this series, I have a feeling that the physical games that I have here are going to become smaller and smaller. And that's just because there's been some games where when I finish them, I don't even buy them. Like, there's some games I'm borrowing from people. There's some games I might borrow from a library, because I'm just like, some of these games I finish one time and I never touch them, and I don't have any type of attachment to them. So I'm kind of like, I don't need to buy the game. But the other big thing here is digital. Digital is nice, it's convenient, but it's something that you can't see. Now, I'm a big physical game person, right? But the downside is that there are games that I'm interested in. There are games that I want to play that simply just don't come out physically. And while as I used to be more strict about waiting for a physical release, there's some digital games that come out where, let's say the game itself is $15 digitally, but then the physical that comes out is like $60. I don't want to pay $60 for a $15 game that I'm not even sure if I'm really going to like that or not. There's some games I even finish digitally, and then I see that $50, $60 physical edition. I'm like, you know, it's good. Like, I really liked it for $15. I don't like it for $60. So that's where that comes into play. But unfortunately, as we are headed and really torpedoing now closer and closer to a really all-digital future, I'm going to still continue to show as many physical games as I can, but just keep in mind that there was a drop-off, really. It's a little bit... It's kind of sad to talk about, but like I said, there was a drop-off last year, and there's been a sharper drop-off this year, and I guess in my head, I just really wished that it would have been another year or two until I got to a pile as small as this, but in future years, if I'm still doing this, don't count on this pile being like as big as it used to be, unfortunately. So it's kind of life, it's kind of the industry, it's just a mix of both in general. We're gonna jump into it now. I'm gonna jump into January, but also just a heads up, kind of with the casualness of this video here, I keep a list on my phone of all the games I finished and like each month and such, so I'm gonna be referencing this, not trying to be dismissive or anything, not trying to be rude, but it's just the list is on here. I didn't want to print out a piece of paper. So we're gonna start off with January. The first game I ended up finishing was on the Switch, and it was Thank Goodness You're Here. This game was an absolute treat. This was one of the best games, probably like the best game to start off the year. If I can give any piece of advice to people, it is if you're choosing to play this game, do it in one sitting if you can. You can finish the game in one sitting. Try not to look up anything. I did have to look up like one thing because there was one part where I didn't know if I was doing something correctly. But the first time you go through this game, just like any other game, you never get your first time back again. You only have a first time once for any game you play through. And this one was amazing because I don't even remember how I heard about it, but I went into it knowing pretty much nothing about it. And the way I've described it to people, I was talking with actually a shout out to Crunchbite. I was talking to him on an episode of Mario's Minute. I said that essentially this game feels like, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're a young kid again, you're staying home from school because you're really sick, you're running a fever, you're just in bed feeling miserable, and you have the TV running. And imagine you just like flip channels to a show, like to a random channel, and you see some like cartoon show that you've never ever heard of or seen before. And you can't really tell if what you're seeing is a fever dream or if it's just some weird programming that's on the TV that wasn't supposed to be there. But it feels like that. It's like 2 hours in length. The animation is great, and it kind of feels like you're controlling one of those fever, dream, sick type experiences that you are going through. This game was absolutely hilarious. I loved it. I want to go through it again. I didn't play it a second time, but I want to go through it again next year. So plan to see it on the 2026 list. But yeah, Thank Goodness You're Here was amazing. I absolutely loved this game. I have nothing bad to say about this one here. The second game I end up finishing, I am using this one as a placeholder, mind you, but it was Grand Theft Auto 3 Definitive Edition. I ended up playing this on Switch, and I believe the reason why I even did this was because, first of all, Grand Theft Auto 3, and this is my childhood copy right here. Actually, I think I can show you all something. Look at this. Look, you remember when games actually used to include manuals, and this one had a book? And here we go. Here's my, oh my goodness. I ended up writing this for a friend in 5th grade when he borrowed this from me. I ended up writing out on a note card in my own like pencil handwriting and everything how to use any car as a taxi. And I slipped it in the back and I was letting him just know that information there. And then we're not in contact anymore, but kind of like screw this guy for it here. He was supposed to borrow this for like, I'm sorry, we're going on a tangent. He was supposed to borrow this for like a week, right? He ended up holding on to it for like 3 weeks. And I remember, it's a good thing we're not friends, you know, like current day. But I remember I was getting annoyed by it, right? And he like sat next to me and he just like, one day I was mouthing off to him about it. And he just like gets close to my ear and he's like, if you complain about it again, I'm going to hold on to your Grand Theft Auto 3 for another week. And I'm like, well, what, like, just bring me my game back, dude. Again, this is even after like Vice City had come out. And I think, yeah, San Andreas wasn't out yet. This is after Vice City had come out, but he wanted to try out 3, so I let him borrow it. But I'm just like, dude, just give me my... This is why sometimes I'm a little selective with who borrows my games, you know? So, there was that. Either way, oh no, getting back to this. I end up playing this on the original Switch. The Switch 2 is not out yet. So I end up playing through the Definitive Edition, which people say is fixed up. It still has issues, right? It's not, like, the best way to play it, but I was playing on there because the month prior, I had ended up flying overseas. And what happened was I had my Switch on me, and this kind of is what happens with me in Grand Theft Auto 3, right? I had my Switch, I was in the plane, it was a long plane flight, and I was just like, you know, let me just, like, see what games I have. Grand Theft Auto 3, sure, I'll start it. I guess I'll just start a new game. And then before I knew it, by the time the flight was over, I had almost completed the second island. So with this happening, I was like, in January, I was like, you know what? Let me just finish this. Why not? Like, I love this game. I'm just going to finish it here. And that's typically what happens. If you put Grand Theft Auto 3 in front of me, I'm going to have to, like, force myself to stop playing it because I love the game that much. So those were the two games I ended up finishing in January. In February, I ended up finishing a few more games here. Sorry, itchy here. So, the first game I ended up finishing, I'm going to preface this again by saying that this game is not super great, right? I'll just talk about it here. South Park Snow Day. I ended up getting this for maybe like 10, 15 bucks, something like this. It was cheap from what I recall. But I ended up getting this on Switch, obviously. I was playing it on there. It doesn't play the best on Switch. I think I'd like overclock it as well too, just to get it to run like a little bit smoother. However, I played on there just because it was cozy. It's like usually my system of preference there. The game itself, I'm a big South Park fan, right? And when this came out, I had run it by some friends because I think, actually, no, one of my friends ran it by us. We have a weekly game night where we play games together. And one of them was like, hey, South Park game is coming out. Do we want to pick it up and co-op it? And right off the rip, at the time, even as a fan, I said no because it ended up getting really bad reviews. But once it was on sale, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and give this a try. It was interesting. It ends up doing like card gameplay it's an action-based game. And you're pretty much clearing out enemies and trying to traverse all these things, and then you're trying to get to like the next point, and you're leveling up your character. And there's also cards as well too. There's this whole big card component because it does play. It does tie into the other two RPGs, like South Park: The Stick of Truth and South Park, the second RPG. I'm not going to say it out loud here, but this is a sequel to that. However, it's okay. I say this even as like a South Park fan, it's okay. It's just, it can be frustrating to play at times. If you die, like you're in a team, right? The bots aren't great. So like if you're playing by yourself, not super great. And there's like 5 parts of the game. And if at any part, you have to start a game, like you start a level and you have to finish it. There's no saving there. There's no checkpointing. And if everyone on your team dies, including you, that's it. You just have to start back from the beginning. So it was really frustrating playing through a bit of that. And even like I played it co-op with some friends because later on in the year, we actually got it on a Steam sale and then we ended up playing it on PC. And there were even some nights where like, yeah, we were getting our butt kicked. We did notice though, having the team, when you have real people on there, it does make it easier. Like, no crap. However, when we were doing that, there were sometimes like some of us would just like run ahead and try and clear out everything. But you really have to play with your team because then what would happen is like one person goes down, then another person goes down, another person goes down, and the one dude who's trying to, just like clear everything is so far ahead, they don't have time to get back, and then they die as well too. So it's like, you feel a certain kind of way when you're like 40 minutes into your run and everyone dies, and it's like, great, we have to start right over from the beginning. So it's a more frustrating game. The one thing I do recommend this for, though, is if you can get it for cheap, you want to play it with some friends, and if you like South Park, here's the thing, if you like South Park, it is worth playing through this just for the story. There was one part in here when, like, you start realizing more about it. I was disgusted, but I thought it was hilarious, and like my friends thought the same thing as well too. So I won't spoil anything on it, but this was story-wise, it was worth playing on there, but it was a pretty weak South Park entry. However, as a fan of the series, I enjoyed it for what it was. I can say that. It was okay. So I ended up playing through that. The next game was this one here. One of my friends that I do these weekly game nights with, we end up playing through Gears of War, the original Gears of War on the original platform, the Xbox 360. This is something where usually if it's just like myself and one other friend, will play over Link, which is the tunneling service. There's a couple tunneling services that you can use on 360. One of them is, of course, X-Link Kai. The other one is Link. We use Link just because it's all integrated into the system itself if you're using Aurora. So we set up our systems. We played co-op through there. The thing that we kept joking about, which wasn't really a joke, is that playing through a LAN tunneling service on a hacked-up game console, for free, might I add, ended up being a better experience than playing online on a paid-for service with Nintendo Switch Online. Yeah. Anyways, we played through the first Gears of War on here. I've played through this game so many times, I don't really have much else to say about it. It was Gears of War, you know? And despite having the poster in the background right there, this is one of my least favorite entries in the series. The poster looks cool, don't get me wrong, but Gears 2 is the best one in the series, in my opinion. So we played through Gears of War. That was a fun one to co-op. And then the last game I finished in February was also on 360. The one back there, actually. It ended up being Ninja Gaiden 2. Now, a few years ago, I ended up starting this, and I played it on my RGH. I had a trainer as well, too, just to make it easier. But I will say this, and in a video I did last month, a video I did last month where I talked about, the 20th birthday of the Xbox 360, or the 20th anniversary, however you want to label it, I had said in there that Ninja Gaiden 2 is one of those games, it is great. It still holds up really well. It plays really nice. It is designed for the 360. It has so many advertising references for the 360, like the Elite, actually. The other games from Team Ninja here. It also has Xbox 360s in the game itself that you can collect. This game was built for the 360 in mind. They did not joke at all when they said right there, only on Xbox 360. That was taken incredibly literally. Now, I don't want to be much of a purist here, but I'm just kind of retelling this here. People have said, because I know this year Ninja Gaiden 2 ended up getting re-released on modern platforms. Now, if you want the true Ninja Gaiden 2 experience, play it on 360. I think this is also backwards compatible. I believe it is, so you can play it on Xbox One, Xbox Series. The reason why I say that is because, from what I recall, Ninja Gaiden 2 on the 360 is just difficult. And it's not like a Soulsborne game, right? Where it's like, I said the same thing. I said that the Bloodborne, Dark Souls, all those games, Elden Ring, I don't like them because I don't like to get frustrated when playing games, but I can understand the appeal of them. There are these types of games where you're trying to cross this insurmountable type barrier, and you're really trying to complete something and really accomplish something here. And I'm sure that once you get the patterns down, and that's what these games are, people tell me, they say they're not really hard games. You just need to recognize the pattern, and then you have to put that pattern back in, work around it, and then you can start finishing the game. But that's what it is. If you can get good at pattern recognition and applying that, the games are pretty easy. That's what people have told me for years, and I can understand that, and there's a really good sense of gratitude you get and sense of accomplishment from beating those bosses, from beating the games, from doing New Game Plus, from getting all the trophies or achievements. I get that. Ninja Gaiden 2 is not that. Ninja Gaiden 2 is incredibly punishingly stupid difficult just for the sake of being incredibly punishingly stupid difficult. Even on the easiest difficulty, even with a trainer, there were times I was just laughing. I wasn't really frustrated, but I was just laughing because I'm like, how is this fair? How is this supposed to be fair in any sense of the way? There is no possible pattern or anything that you could do here. This game is just punishingly difficult for the sake of being punishingly difficult. And there's people who love that. Now, the reason why I'm talking about the 360 version in general is because this is what it was designed for. Now, as I understand it, when it was ported to the PS3, it was ported as Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma. And because of how the PS3's RAM allocation works, on the Xbox 360 you have 512 megabytes of unified RAM. On the PS3 you have 512 megabytes of RAM, but it is split. So 256 is allocated to games, 256 is allocated towards system resources. So because of that, they ended up taking this game, and when they ported it over, they just split the enemy count in half, which ended up making the game much easier on PS3. The problem is, every single re-release of Ninja Gaiden 2 ever since then has been based on the PS3's work. So even if you pick this up on PS5 or Series X, and not like the 360 version, the actual native build of it, and you're playing through it and you're like, yeah, this game's kind of easy, actually. It's not really that hard. I don't know why people talk about this being so difficult. play the 360 version. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. If you want the true Ninja Gaiden 2 experience, you gotta play the original version. There is a big difference there. So, it was a great game, though. I ended up finishing that, because I started it, I should say this, I started it a few years ago, and then I got, like, probably 75% of the way through and just stopped playing it, just got busy with life and such. So I was looking through my games, and I said, you know what, let me go in and finish this. I actually ended up finishing this quicker than I expected, because I guess in the re-releases, they've added 2 or 3 additional chapters, so when I was looking up the chapter lists, I was going off of those ones. So I remember I was like, dang, there's like 3 levels left, and this is really hard. And then all of a sudden the credits rolled. I was like, oh, I accidentally finished Ninja Gaiden 2. I bet you've never heard that before, but you've now heard it in this video. But that was it for February. In March, I think... Yeah, in March, this was the most amount of games that I had played. So I ended up finishing 4 games in March. The first one here, I'm going to count it as a game, right? I'm going to count it towards my count here. This was not even a full game, funny enough. But when I say I beat it, I end up beating it the most that I could. Let's just say that. I end up playing through NX1, which is also known as Call of Duty Future Warfare. Now, from what I understand, I didn't know much about it. From what I understand, NX1 was a prototype of a Call of Duty game that was kind of just floating out in like kind of hidden preservation and like beta and prototype circles for years, and nobody really had an actual direct link that they could share to it until it ended up releasing online. Now, the reason why this was so cool was because this was the game that was in development. I believe it was from Sledgehammer? Well, I'm not sure. But this was the game that was actually supposed to come out for in place of Call of Duty Ghosts. And then for whatever reason, I don't know if it was scope creep, I'm not sure what it was, but the higher-ups at Activision said, no, we're not going to release this here. Just let's just scrap this project and let's work on something else. So it was a very different game, but like instead of getting Future Warfare, we end up getting Call of Duty Ghosts, which is horrible. That was like that right there. I mean, you could say it was like earlier, but like I'm just gonna say real quick, just going on a little bit of a rant here. I used to be a big fan of the Call of Duty series. Call of Duty 4 is the GOAT right there. I could see the appeal with the other ones because I have some I don't like. Like I don't like World at War. I think Modern Warfare 2 is okay. I know I'm saying all this offensive stuff right now to many people. Black Ops, actually one of my favorite games, the first one. Modern Warfare 3, I didn't really like. And then Black Ops 2, I didn't really get into it, but I can see how good it is, and I've enjoyed it. But Call of Duty Ghosts was the first Call of Duty game where I was like, yeah, I'm out. That's it. I didn't even finish that one. I used to at least finish the campaign on each one. Call of Duty Ghosts was the first one I did not finish, which is a shame because I ended up playing through, like, this prototype got out. I fired it up on my RGH. I started playing NX1 or Future Warfare, however you're going to call it. This game is awesome. The only downsides, though, aside from being incomplete, are that there's only like 6 levels that are playable. So you have to have a mission selector, essentially, and you have to load up each mission individually. Some of them just don't work. Some of them just completely crash. I think there was one level, it kept like crashing on me, so I'd like go back and try it. And then I tried out the multiplayer as well, too. So this was such a missed opportunity. This was a really cool build, though. This was such a cool game to play. And I just got a little sad playing it because I'm like, you know, we could have had this. Like, this would have been awesome. I think people would have been really happy to play it, but instead we got Call of Duty Ghosts. So, that's that is what happened there. I believe it was, I'm pretty sure it was that. Someone can correct me in the comments, though. Next game I ended up finishing, which is a game I was kind of working on the side here, was Halo Spartan Assault. I ended up playing that on 360 yet again. I was playing a lot of 360, as you all can tell here. This is a digital-only game that was on there, so I ended up playing through it. I had it on Xbox One before. I just played on 360 because like I had it there and it was cozy, and I was like, still, I really prefer the 360 as opposed to the Xbox One or the Xbox Series. I'll just put it like that. But I played through it. It was nice because it was a Halo game where it's top-down instead of first-person. And it's actually in some ways easier than a Halo game because when you're playing in first person, you have to obviously like aim where you're shooting. But this one you kind of just, since it's like a twin stick shooter, you just aim in the general direction you want to shoot, and you don't need precision, which is really nice. So in that way, it was easier to play than the other Halo games, which is really cool. Um, I was also able to play this game while I was like doing stuff on the side. So like if I was on a call with someone or I was just doing something else, if I just want to like, just lounge around and kind of just multitask, I was able to play this game pretty easily. So I like slowly chipped away at it. It was fine up until like the very end. Then all of a sudden at the very end, like the difficulty like spikes up there. I was able to finish it obviously, but Spartan Assault was fun. I believe there's a sequel as well too, and I don't really know too much about that, but Halo Spartan Assault was fine. It was a Halo game I never played really up until now, and then I did that, so that was cool. Another 360, actually, it was all 360 this month. Wow. Another 360 game I ended up playing was Res HD. I have this on PS4, actually. I could have brought the physical copy of it, but I ended up playing it digitally on there. Beautiful game. I don't have too much else to say about it, really. One of the things I do like, though, is that it came with 2 builds of the game, and this was a remaster done right. You're playing in Res HD, right? So it's widescreen, it plays really well, it looks gorgeous, it's a fun game, don't get me wrong, you can really get into it. And then there's the original one on there. If you want to, you can play the original Res. Like, pretty much they just took like either like the Dreamcast or the probably PS2. I don't know. But it came out originally on Dreamcast, then it came out later on PS2. But you could play that version on the 360 version. So you could play the original Res if you want to. Now, the only downside to that was that I tried it out after I finished Res HD, and I thought it was cool, but I was like, well, I really like having the widescreen, and I think even the frame rate was higher as well, too, in the HD version compared to the original. So, and also, it didn't look nearly as good as well, so I'm like, it is really cool they did that. I love it, but I would struggle to see who prefers to play the original one on the HD re-release when you have the HD re-release at your hands. Nothing bad, though. Nothing bad. I do love that they did that. I thought that was awesome, and it was still absolutely worth playing through. If you haven't played through it, it's a really cool rhythm game. Give it a try. And also, can't really talk about this too much in here. Just look this up, right? It'll be a little bit not safe for work. For the Japanese release, I want to say, on PS2, they ended up releasing a little bit of a suspect peripheral alongside it. Just look up like Res PS2 peripheral and you'll find what I'm looking for. It's funny at least to look into, but yeah, people really enjoy this game is what I'm saying. The last one I ended up finishing in March at least was right here. Battlefield 3, again, on 360. Now, some people might be wondering why I played it on here. One, because I just wanted to be cozy, right? Like, I have a great computer here. My computer is and I'm not trying to flex, I'm just sharing this here. But I'm looking down at it. It's got a, Ryzen 9950X in there, RTX 5070, excuse me, and 64 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM at 6000 speed. My computer could eat this game for breakfast, like, easily. Like, my computer, it's at the point where there was one night, I kid you not, I was playing with some friends, like, we were playing the original Borderlands on here, which is, mind you, it's not like a huge, like, taxing game in 2025, right? But we're playing Borderlands. I accidentally had Premiere up, like where I edit my videos. I had that running, and I didn't realize it until we were almost done playing for that night. There was no performance hit at all. My CPU was not going crazy or anything. The GPU was running. Everything was fine. Like, it was just like, it was like a tickle, if anything, like running Borderlands while I was also running Premiere. So that was funny, but I decided to play it on 360 for a few reasons. One, I kind of just wanted to be cozy. Two, I really wanted to see how this performed on 360. And three, it frustrated me because Battlefield 3 is a game that I've started like 9 times. And then I always got stuck like an hour in, and I would just get annoyed and stop playing. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start this game from the beginning. I installed the HD pack because that was the thing they had on here. But I installed it. I started playing through it. I got to the part where I got stuck. I spent like 2 minutes being annoyed, and then I got past it, and I'm like, what was the issue I had with it before? I don't know. I was able to play through the rest of it here. I think my only downside to this game, it was really cool. It still performs really well. It looks great. Even on the 360 in 2025, this game looks great. I'm not kidding. If you have this game, just give it a try for like 30 minutes. You will be impressed at how it looks on a console that was manufactured in 2005. I was astounded at what the Xbox was pushing out. Even my girlfriend was next to me, and she was like working on stuff on her laptop and such, and she kind of like, she was talking to some people, but she like looked a few times, and she was like telling me, she's like, yeah, no, my boyfriend's playing, what is this game, Battlefield 3? Is this popular? Like, oh, it's an older game, okay. And then she kept like looking at the screen, she's like, this looks really good. And I was like, yeah, right. And she's like, yeah, like this is like how old is this game? Like this looks like good even now. So it is still a really like performance game is what I'm saying. I was surprised with it on console. So that was also a big reason why I want to play it on there. End up playing through it, but like the only downside I really have on this is that this very much came out at the time when first-person shooters were still coming out and first-person shooters were big. Like everything had to have multiplayer, everything was a first-person shooter, but all these first-person shooters, unlike games now where a campaign is optional, they still had to force a campaign in there. So the best way I can describe it is that the campaign is fun. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but it's not the most memorable campaign in the world because it's pretty much just a 6-hour training mission to prepare you for multiplayer. So it's like, hey, look, play through the campaign. There's a storyline going on there. There's some voice acting and such, but this is really just teaching you how to play the game. And then by the time you're done playing the campaign, you'll know how to play, like, you'll know how to use the guns, you'll know how to use all the vehicles in there. Now you can jump into multiplayer. Congratulations, you just finished your training mission. That's pretty much what this genre of campaigns felt like. It was still cool, though. It was bombastic. It was cool. It was fun. But that's just kind of how it was for a sign of the time there. And as someone who, like, I was growing up, like, I was in college around that time, so I was growing up with those games and such. I was playing those games. Everyone around me was playing them. It was pretty par for the course for that era. So that was the last game I ended up finishing in March. We can continue on here. Here we go. This is the game I always talk about. You know, I even went for a drink of... This is annoying. I went for a drink of water and I ended up, like, dribbling on myself. It's water, though, at least. It's fine. But, yeah, in April, I only ended up finishing one game, which is probably the most important game I played here. Ring Fit Adventure. This is something I still talk about here, and I am, you know what, I'm gonna brag about this a little bit, right? People have their Dark Souls, they have their Bloodborne, they have all their Soulsborne type game, Elden Ring DLC, they got that stuff, right? I don't play those games, but I do have bragging rights on something that most of these people don't play. As of this year, it took over 5 years. I say it took about 5 years. It took about 5.5 years to get to this point, and a part of that was for several of those months I wasn't really playing as consistently, and at one point, this several years ago, I actually injured my leg pretty bad, so I couldn't play for months. So it took me about, let's say, 5 years overall to get to this point here, but I was able to max out my character on Ring Fit Adventure. I had never looked it up before. I wanted to see what the max level was, and I was able to max out my character to level 999. I also play on the highest difficulty, which is level 30. So I play this game. I finish it so many times now, I don't even remember how many times I finished it. Like, quite literally, at the time I'm recording this, tomorrow I'm going to finish the game again. Because there's like 3, not worlds, but essentially, when you play this game, you have your, how do I put it? You have your whole, like, campaign you're doing that is spread across 23 worlds. And then when you finish that, you have a harder version of the same levels, just harder, another 23 worlds. And then after that, you have an even harder version. That's another 23 worlds, which just the same ones, just remixed. So you pretty much have kind of, let's say, like, you have your character level, you have your character difficulty, but then you have, like, let's say, easy, normal, hard, and you just play through those. But the whole game is difficult, right? But what I do is I just run through those every single time. So I'll clear, like, the first one. When I'm done, clear the second one. When I'm done, clear the third one. When I'm done there, I go back to the first one, and I just start over and over, and I just keep doing that. That's what I've been doing for years now. So I finished this game countless times. I usually finish it multiple times in a year. But this is a really big accomplishment for me, excuse me, because like I said, I end up getting max level on my character now. So That's cool. I'm still playing it, by the way. It's a little disappointing now that I can't really, like, level up any further on there, but I still play it. This is how I get my exercise. Is it the best? No. But it works for me, and I'm one of those people, I believe, that even if you do... If someone's giving you an exercise plan, and it's like, these are the best exercises possible that you could do, can you actually do them? Not can you, will you actually do them on schedule, regularly, and dedicate to them? If the answer is yes, good for you. If the answer is no, you got to find something that works for you, because it doesn't really... You can do the best exercise regimens, but if you're not going to stick to them, it's not going to do anything. I tell people, if you're needing to exercise, it doesn't really matter too much what you do. If you have certain goals, you're going to have to change what you're doing. You might have to lift, you might have to run, whatever it is. But as long as you're doing something to keep moving, to keep exercising, as long as you're doing something, something is always going to be better than nothing. And I do this Monday through Friday. So Ring Fit Adventure, I've talked about it so many times over the years, but yeah, I'm still playing it even now. But that is an accomplishment I'm going to hold. I'm still playing it, but I play on the hardest difficulty. I've cleared the game so many times, and I play, I now have the highest level character that you can get. So go me, I guess. That'll be like one of the few times I really celebrate myself there. Next one, I don't have this game physically. I thought I had it at one point, and I might have gotten rid of it. I don't know. So I had to borrow it. But I ended up playing through on 360 yet again, Spec Ops: The Line, or Special Ops: The Line. This is again one of those games I've started it like 4 or 5 times, and I've never finished it, and it's always frustrated me so much because I have it on PC, I have it on 360, I have this game, but I just never stick to it for whatever reason. And people say, like, whenever I see any online discussion about it, people are just like, yo, that is one of the best games ever. That is one of the greatest games ever made. Oh, man, that game was crazy, man. I thought it was just going to start off like a generic war shooter, and then whoosh, like, people just, they hold it in such a high accolade. So I said, you know what? Let me give this a try. And I don't really want to spoil it, because I do want people to experience it, right? But very much it starts off like that. Like, it starts off at the beginning, you're thinking it's kind of just like a generic military war shooter, which was really common back in the day, like when this released. I think it released in like 2012, I want to say. So, you know, that's when like Battlefield was coming back, Call of Duty was huge, Halo was kind of like fighting for relevance at that point because it was like the military war shooter, and then Spec Ops: The Line comes out. But this was one of the best campaigns I've ever played for a first-person shooter. It was incredible. And I think it's sad that like this game came out and then like nothing really happened with it after that. I believe it had like the tacked on multiplayer, which like all these games had to have when they came out, but aside from that, like, nothing much else really came from it. It was gritty, it was real, it was disturbing, and it's like, even when you're thinking, like, you're rooting for the right team or what have you, like, it really takes some twists and turns. It is one of the most impressive and, like, intelligent first-person shooters I've ever played. If you have not played this game, try it out, but stick with it. Don't be like me and just drop it for no reason. Like, actually stick with it. It will surprise you. It will break your brain a little bit. But great game. Also, again, it ran pretty well on the Xbox 360. I'd even said as well, too, this in my 20-year video, I'd said that even before the release of this, because this is also the year it was really cool, Bad Update came out, which essentially means you can now modify your Xbox 360 using only a USB drive. Something we dreamed of before. But I hope this is kind of a testament to it. I'd even said in there that I didn't jump to the Xbox 360 again just because of Bad Update. It was great because I was already on there. Like, I just had this gaming fatigue from, like, the industry and how it was. And even before Bad Update released, I was playing on my 360 a ton this year. Like, more than I had in recent years. Just because, I mean, it's a fun system to go back to. And the game library and all that is great on there. But now we're going to the next month. This one disappoints me because actually I don't have another physical copy here. 2 physical. I finished 2 games this month is what I'm trying to say in June. This one here I end up can I use this? You know what? I think I'm just going to use this as my physical prop. How about that? Mario Kart World. That's where I end up finishing. I'm showing this here because I end up getting it digitally. I got the bundle that had the Switch 2 with Mario Kart World already included, and I want to eventually get a physical copy of it, but it's not really a priority right now. Not really. Not only I don't really play the game that much now, but also it's just I'm kind of just waiting to find like a really good discounted version of it, and then I can pick up a physical copy. It's not a huge deal to me at the moment. However, yes, I did end up playing through it on here. Great game to bundle with the system, even though it wasn't bundled. You had to end up paying for it, of course, but like if you got like the $500 bundle, you end up getting the game for $50 instead of 80, so it's a little bit better there. But yeah, no, this game was fun. The one thing I was completely surprised by, though, was my favorite aspect of the game was actually the free roam mode on there. It's so simple. It is just such a simple thing. It's just, you know what, you can go around, you can like do the little like P buttons on there, and you have like little challenges that you could do, but otherwise you can just drive around the entire world of Mario Kart World. And it was fun. And it was cool, and it is a beautiful, like, good-looking game, and it plays really well. But this isn't even to discount any of the other modes or, like, the races or anything. If you told me that my favorite part of the game would be the free roam, I would laugh at you. But, like, honestly, and it's no disrespect to the other parts of the game, but I was surprised the free roam ended up being my favorite mode of the game. And that's the version, like free roam mode. I've spent hours just free roaming on there, doing what I want to, just exploring. And it's been really nice. It's relaxing, it's nice, it's fun. You can't really go wrong with it. So Mario Kart World, I didn't expect it to be anything bad, but I enjoyed it. I'm not really playing it that much right now, not because of a dislike for it, but I just I don't go as hard on Mario Kart as I used to. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. So, you know, good system, good game to try on the Switch too. The next game I end up finishing after that was a game that I end up borrowing here, and this is on PS5. So now we're actually, you can see it's like the first, it felt like the first half of the year I pretty much didn't play on current systems up until like June now. So now in June, I end up, like I said, the other game I end up playing was RoboCop Rogue City. This game, I had to borrow it. It took me probably like a couple months to finish here. But man, this game was so good. This game was so good. And this is one of those games, right? If you look at user reviews of it, if you just look up like critic reviews of it, or do you look at it like through a critical lens, the game is not good. The game is ugly. The game does not perform well, especially near the end of the game. You're getting into like, it is like a slideshow sometimes. Also, it had this really annoying thing that I don't like with Unreal Engine. I'm not going to rant about Unreal Engine right now. I can't do that in this video. I'm sorry. But it's annoying when every single game, it feels like, is using Unreal Engine because it's bloated, and if you don't optimize the game, you're going to run into the same issues on like every single game. And you could just look at the games, and you could tell at times they're just, even though you can make such different games with Unreal Engine, they all have the same issue. And the issue that I was having the most on here was not just the performance, even though this does play into it here. There were constant graphical glitches. So as soon as the camera would pan onto someone's face, their face would be distorted a little bit. It pans back to someone else, their face would be distorted a little bit. And it was like for half a second every single time. If you're using a gun and it has a scope on there, every single time you draw down the sights on there, the scope is just gray for like half a second, and then you end up seeing the enemies. And it was constant throughout the entire game. That was disappointing. However, the game itself was an absolute treat. It was so fun to play. It was nice to just get lost in the city there. Just the different missions, the interactions. My girlfriend had watched me play through part of it as well too. And it's funny because there's one mission where you as RoboCop, you're helping out someone and you go to a video store and you're looking for a certain video. This is a whole mission, by the way. This is a whole mission. You're looking for a specific video, and as you're looking for it, you're picking up different videos and you're showing them to your friend. And you're having discussions over life and the videos and the content and kind of tying it all together. And my girlfriend is just looking at the screen and she's like, what are you doing, dude? You're RoboCop, and are you serious? you're just like, you're shopping for VHS tapes? That's what you're doing? And I'm like, yes, I am. And I love it. That's why this game is so good. I love this game. This is one of the best games I've played in a long time. The thing that surprised me as well is I didn't realize this until the very end of the game when the credits were rolling. I believe this game was developed in Poland. And it shocked me because they were able to capture the feeling and the culture so perfectly. Like, even just going to a rental shop in the US and the exchanges and how everything was, they were able to capture that so perfectly that, like, I have to hand it off to the team. Like, they did a stellar job on this game itself. What it doesn't have in performance, it makes up for 10 times in heart. So if you ever look up this game, this is going to be one of those games where it's like, the critical reviews are probably going to be like 5s and 6s, but the user reviews are going to be like 8s, 9s, and 10s. Just listen to the users on this one. Even if you are not a fan of RoboCop, even if you don't care about RoboCop, give this game a try. Like, I'm not really a RoboCop fan, right? And this game was great. RoboCop Rogue City, I can't say enough good things about it. I do wish it kind of came out sooner. Like, not soon. I wish I played it earlier. But the year it came out, I want to say it was probably 2023. There was a lot going on. I just couldn't really absorb new games at that time. So, you know what? I was able to still enjoy it for what it was. In July, I got to move a few things around here. I ended up finishing another game, which a little bit of a flex on this one here. Gears of War 2. My friend and I that we do like some weekly game nights with, we end up playing through Gears of War 2 together. So this was something we were playing on. And by the way, I want to show this one because people might not know about this right here. I just got to tell a story about this real quick, right? You cannot buy this. Look, it even says here, for display only. And it has rated pending right here. This is not a beta thing. This is not a prototype or anything. This was actually a display box from GameStop back in the day. And the way I got it was, well, we just end up asking. I was with some of my friends, and it was actually two of the friends that I have game nights with, right? We decided to do open lunch. This is back in high school. We were doing open lunch. We went down to the mall. We ended up going to the GameStop there after our meal because we wanted to, of course, like eat and then check out some games before going back to school. Now, they end up having, like, these were kind of, I think they were, like, on the side or they were, like, near the front. They used to be there. And this is, like, shortly after Gears of War 2 ended up releasing. Then, of course, as new games were coming out, then GameStop ended up taking these down. One of my best friends, right? He ends up just talking to, he was really cool with the people there. And he just talked to them, and he was like, hey, you know those, like, Gears of War display cases? Like, the Gears 2 display cases? Do you still have them? And the guy was like, yeah, I think they're in the back. Do you guys want them? And my friend's like, sure. So the guy went to the back. He was there for like a minute or two. He comes out. He's got a small stack of these steel books, right? I want to say he had 3 or 4 of them. I think it was 4 of them. And he gave one of them to my best friend. He was like, hey, do you guys want these as well? And I'm just there. I'm like, wait, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, I mean, if you just want it, you can take it. And I gladly took it. And that's just something, not only I have a really nice, like, sentimental value with this here, in my opinion, also, I end up getting, like, the special edition of Gears 2 back in the day. This steelbook ended up being better. It looks nicer than the one that you could actually buy. So it's really cool. I have no idea what the value of this is or anything, but this is like one of the few steelbooks I have that I'm actually proud to own here. Again, though, it wasn't meant for retail or anything. It was, technically, but not to be sold because there's nothing inside of here, as you can see. However, yeah, we end up playing through Gears 2 together. Man, still an emotional game right there. Still the best one there, in my opinion, but fantastic game overall. We had a lot of fun playing that. Plus, I got to talk about this case right here. So in August, I end up playing more games. Started playing some newer stuff here. I don't have this one because it didn't come out physically, but Deltarune, I end up playing it on Switch too. Now, I've talked about this several times here, but because it comes out in chapters in case you don't know. It takes place in the Undertale universe. I'll say that, right? And some people do get surprised or like they're just shocked that like I'm a fan of Undertale, and I'm like, yeah, they're good games. I like Undertale. Here's the thing, and this is the thing I can impart to other people here. I don't know about the fan base. I don't really care to know about the fan base. I'm not in the fandom like that. I was told to play Undertale years ago because it was a really good game, and I played it and I thought it was great. And I have, I have my own little fan base with it, right? With my family, because my youngest brother, like not young, but both my brothers, actually, my younger brothers, they love Undertale. So they thought it was really cool that like they're like me, like cool older brother ends up playing Undertale and I was into it. So we play through these games, we talk about them and all that, but like I don't look up the videos, I don't look up the theories. I just play through the games and I enjoy them for what they are. Because I share this because a lot of people say that they hate Undertale. And then when I ask them why they hate it, they're like, well, okay, it's not that the game is bad, it's that the fan base is really annoying, and that's why I hate Undertale. I'm like, so you don't hate the game. You just ignore the fan base and play the game. The game is good. Either way, Deltarune is great. I brought it up a few times here over the years because Chapter 1 came out, I finished that. Chapter 2 came out, so I finished Chapter 1 and 2. And then Chapters 3 and 4 end up releasing when the Switch 2 ended up releasing. So I played through all the way from Chapter 1 to Chapter 4 on Switch 2. There's no, like, benefit of playing on Switch 2, I'm gonna be honest. It's Undertale. So it's not like it's a demanding game by any means. You could probably, or not Undertale, Deltarune. Point is, you can probably play it on like a netbook and probably be okay in terms of performance. But yeah, no, I played it on here. It was great. I really enjoyed my time with it. They really went a bit crazy on the last 2 episodes, and I believe Toby Fox, has said that I think the next episodes are supposed to come out in quicker succession, which will be nice. So I really liked what they did with these episodes. If you haven't played Undertale or Deltarune, or even just try them out, is what I'm saying. Try them out if you're interested in them. They're funny, they're quirky, they got music that's gonna get stuck in your head. They're feel-good games at the same time. Like, I enjoy them quite a bit, so this was certainly no exception. This next game I end up finishing, I can't show you all because even though, you know what, I have a physical copy of it, but I don't have it with me because my youngest brother is borrowing it. This is Clair Obscur. I hope I'm saying it right. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This game completely gripped me. Like, I was shocked when I had tried this game out, right? I ended up seeing, like, I was seeing bits of it. Like, here's the thing. I didn't really follow the development of it. I didn't look too much into it, but I actually saw, like, on my Twitter timeline, where there were essentially, like, 2 people. I saw one a person who I don't even follow. I saw it pop up. One person said they ended up picking it up because they were going to be playing it, like, they had, like, a desk job, right? And they wanted to play a turn-based game between work that they were doing. And I'm like, that's a good use of time. That's cool. And then I saw someone else who had posted about it. They ended up playing it on Game Pass, but then they ended up getting a physical copy of it on PS5 because they wanted to essentially demo the game on Game Pass. And then if they really liked it, they were going to physically purchase it and play it on PS5. And that's what happened. Like, they end up picking up a physical copy. And when I looked at that, I was like, I didn't know it came out physically. I had no idea. And around that time, because I'm very careful when it comes to RPGs, right? Essentially, I need to make sure I have the time to play an RPG. But even one of my best friends, he was telling me about this game, and I asked him how long it was, and he was like, dude, that's the best part. It's like a 30-hour game. I'm like, wait, really? He said, yeah, it's like 30 hours. Like, it's quick for an RPG. So I'm like, it's turn-based, it looks good, it's got a physical copy, it's only $50 instead of $60 or $70 or, heaven forbid, $80. I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up. And it was funny because, like, even when I went to pick up the game, right, like, I went to a shop. There was one shop in, like, the entire area I'm in, and I had to drive, like, 30 minutes to go there. I had to kind of go out of my way. I held the game, I go to this shop, I go to pick it up, right, and I talk to the clerk, I said, yeah, I'm picking up Expedition 33, and the guy just had this, he didn't even say that much, but he had this look on his face, like, as he gave me the game, he kind of had this look of, like, oh, dude, you're gonna enjoy this. Yeah, this is, you're getting that good stuff right there. Like, that's how he looked. And what can I say? It was a fantastic game. I really don't have much bad stuff to say about it, but if you're interested in this game, please give it a try. I don't really want to spoil anything because it is a newer game that has come out this year, but it's fantastic. I wish I had my copy to show you all, but it's fine. Just imagine I have one here. Like I said, I don't have it because my youngest brother is borrowing it from me, and I don't want to rush him on playing it. So that's how it goes. I think there was one more game that I end up finishing here. Yes. This one, I'm going to try my best to say it here. Boku no Natsuyasumi Adventure by the Sea. Now, this is a PS2 game, and again, a game that I had borrowed, but this was a PS2 game that only released in Japan, so when I borrowed it, I had to dump the game, and then I had to English patch it, and I want to say it's Hillcrest, I want to say, or Hilltop Works, or I don't remember who, the exact name of who made the English patch, but if you just look up this game and look up English patch, you can find it. And the reason why I ended up playing this game, it was never my peripheral at all. But there were people who were talking about it online, and they said, oh yeah, like this game, I ended up playing it last year, and it goes day by day, right? So essentially it starts on, let's say like August 1st. I don't remember the exact date, but let's say August 1st, the game ends up starting. And then when you're playing the game, you're playing from August 1st to August 31st. And it's kind of timed as well, too. So every single day, you only have to play about 20, 30 minutes of a day, something like that. I ended up playing through this, of course, with the English patch, and I didn't want to play it on my PS2 just because, I'm going to be honest, I was lazy. And I didn't want to play it on my PS3 because even with that as well, too, I just didn't, I kind of just want to like play it like in like a cozy manner, like in a portable device. So I end up playing it on Steam Deck. This game was really enjoyable. My only qualm about it, and it was the way I decided to play it, right? Because a lot of people said like, hey, it's a really fun experience. If you can play this game every single day it's available, that's great. Some people can enjoy that, and I can see the enjoyment there. Unfortunately, I have learned for sure I'm not one of those people. I tried to do it several years ago, and I did. I did this several years ago with Valhalla. It's not, I'm going to put on screen, it's not spelled how it is said, right? But I end up doing this with Valhalla, and the downside with that was that the game ended up becoming work. So you have to make some time every day to carve out to this specific game, and then for me at least, if I end up skipping a day on accident, or I'm just too busy, I feel bad. And then if I skip 2 days, I feel even worse. So then on day 3, I have to play 2 days ago, 1 day ago, and that day. And at that point, then I'm just annoyed because I'm like, I'm just sitting here like just doing work on this game. So even by the end, I had like a few days left. I was like trying to synchronize it. But there had been a few times I'd like skipped a day or skipped 2 days, so I really had to like rush it. And then when I was rushing playing those days, I wasn't enjoying them. And then by the end, I was like, you know what? I'm not enjoying doing this stuff day by day. I'm just gonna like just burn through like 2 days at a time and just finish up the game. Which I did enjoy. It was cozy, it was lovely, it was a nice slice of life type game. Really fun game overall. Something that I wouldn't normally play, but I'm really happy I got the experience to try it and play it. And if this is something that you might want to be interested in trying, then I would recommend doing so. It was a good game overall, like no complaints. I don't know how well it would have done if it was localized outside of Japan, that's the only thing, but it's cool with English patches like that now so many more people can enjoy those games in a way. So, love to see that. In September, I only finished one game, which I had things to say about this, and I'll share this here, but this was a controversial game, right? It's for the Switch 2, and it's pretty much the Switch 2. It is Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Now, I ended up getting grief about this, right? Like, there were people who made fun of me where they were just like, dude, seriously, you paid $10 for that crap? You paid $10 for that game? Oh man, you played right into their hands. That game should have never been $10. It should have been free. It should have been a pack-in game. And here's the thing. I'm not trying to defend the big corporation, right? I actually disagree with that notion. At first, I thought this game just should have been free. If it was $10, it might as well have been free. They should have just included it on the Switch too. The problem is, and this is the problem with the game itself is not bad. It's actually quite an enjoyable game. I ended up liking it. Essentially what you're doing is you're playing through the Switch 2. Like, literally, imagine, like, rest in peace to E3, but imagine going to, like, E3, or how about this? Imagine going to Gamescom. Imagine going to some type of convention, except the convention is all about the Switch 2. And the entire convention is a giant Switch 2. So you are going through the inside of the Switch 2. You're going all around the outside. You're learning about it. You're going to the different controllers. You're going to the microphone. You're trying all these things. There's different demos that you can try out. There's collectibles that you can do. There's different tasks that you can perform. It is a cool, techie, nerdy idea, and I love it. The problem is, I am a nerd like that. Like, I find that nerd shit to be so cool and so fun, and that's why I got so much enjoyment out of it. But if this was a free pack-in game, most people, I guarantee this, most people would fire it up for 5 or 10 minutes and be like, what is this shit? This is stupid. Why would Nintendo even include this? And they would just close out of the game. They would delete it. And I don't know, go to the store on there, the digital storefront, and give it like 1 star. That's what would happen, because Nintendo did not make a game for everyone. This is not Wii Sports by any means. This is not Astrobot. This is not even Nintendo Land. This is just, it is so nerdy and it is so technical that overall, the general public is not going to enjoy this game. That's what I'll put. So this game is not for everyone, but if you are curious to see what the Switch 2 can really do, and like the innards and all that, and especially as someone who, I've taken apart these systems, I've taken apart the Joy-Cons, I've done different things to them, this was such a treat. Like, man, when you take apart the Switch and even like the Switch 2 now, if you want to get to the SoC on there, the SoC, if you want to get to the SoC on there, there's these latches that you have to undo, and I'm good at undoing them now, but I hate that part. I hate it, and they even showed the latches in there. When you're walking around on top of it, they even show that, and then you can go underneath. It was so cool. See, I'm nerding out about it. Like, that's the thing. For people like me, this is an exciting game, but for the general public, if you're looking for something like a Wii Sports, or you're looking for a Astrobot, this is not it. That's why this game should have never been included, because most people, like 98% of people who would have tried it, just would not have understood it, and they would have just gotten frustrated. I think the only outlier I have here is I did see one person, this is like months and months ago, they were starting to get into it, and they were just like, yo, I think we all misunderstood this game. This game is deep. This game is awesome. I think it might be like just as good as Astrobot or something. I was like, no. As someone who's now finished the game, no. Astrobot was so much better. That was probably one of the best packing games I've ever played. So, yeah. But this was still enjoyable overall. I really liked it. And it also gave me one more. I enjoyed it really for this as well too. It had showed me that I don't care about HDR. I recognize HDR is cool at a technical level. I can appreciate it. But here's the thing. Even people say, like a lot of people, because when I've explained this, they said, well, you know, the Switch 2 is not really great at showing HDR. It's not like proper HDR because it's an LCD screen, right? But it was at least able to show me differences on there, even if it wasn't like great. And to that, I even tell people, look, I thought there was something wrong with me the whole time, because I would try HDR on my TV and I'm just like, I don't like it. And then I would change the settings and I'm like, I'm not liking this for some reason. And then I would just stick to HDR. And sometimes I would accidentally disable HDR. And I'd be like, whoa, this looks good. This is HDR is off. What the hell? Why does it look better without HDR? I thought it was my TV. I went over to a friend's house. This was like a year or two. I think it was like 2 years ago. I went to a friend's house. He is a media nerd, right? He's got a state-of-the-art television, sound system, and everything. He was showing us, like as a group, he was showing us SDR and HDR, and he kept switching between the two. And not just me, all of us in the room were kind of like, I'm expecting more. Like, no disrespect to your TV, but like, I don't know what I was expecting. I was just expecting more, you know? Now, to his credit, he did say, hey, that like he was showing us a movie, and he said, okay, this is a bad example because this is a dark part of the movie right here. But then he tried to show us like later parts of the film, and we were all just kind of like, I mean, we can see the difference, but it's not that big of a jump as we would have expected, you know? And this World Tour, it had one of the best demonstrations I ever saw for comparing SDR to HDR. And I was like, wow, I can finally see the difference. And you know what? I don't care. And it was so liberating. Honestly, that moment, it was so liberating in my technical life. It just like, it liberated all these last few years of just trying to gaslight myself into thinking that HDR was this like huge, amazing, awesome thing that like I just wasn't doing right, or I just didn't have the right eyes for. I'm like, no, I finally see the difference, and it is not enough of a difference for me to care. Okay, I can go on living my my best gaming life now. So that was at that moment right there. That was worth the $10 for me. That was worth the $10 admission right there. I'm sure there's somebody right now who's just like, who loves HDR and they just hate hearing that. But like, look, that's my opinion on it. So that's how it goes. In October, I ended up finishing 2 games. Again, digital games. These games were great. They were funny. They were quick. I loved them. They were the Duck Detective games. The first one was Duck Detective: The Secret Salami. This is on, both of them were on Switch. That was the first one. The second one was Duck Detective: The Ghost of Glamping. I cannot wait for the next one to come out. I know they're going to be making another one. I cannot wait for it. These are great games. They are funny. They are cute. The animation, I love. Even if you're not into like the whole mystery type thing, it really holds your hand, so you can play through it. I don't want to spoil too much about them, but they were really fun. Just games with birds are generally fun. You all saw, I loved Untitled Goose Game immensely, and we got the same thing here with Duck Detective. But fantastic games, both of them. I absolutely loved. They were excellent. They were great, and they even had this really nice feature as well too, where like occasionally, I wish more games had this. You know when you're like playing through a game and maybe your character ends up like clipping onto something like a wall and they end up getting stuck, and then your only thing that you can do to fix it is just to close out of the game and reopen it, or to like exit that game and then reload your save. This game, both of them have a feature in there where you can reset your character. So what it does is if you get stuck somewhere, you can pull up that reset button and it just beams your character right to the middle of the map and plops them right there. I've never seen that in another game. I love that feature, and I really wish more games had that. So those were the 2 games I ended up finishing in October. We're almost done here. We got 3 more games, 2 more months here. So this is in November. In November, I end up finishing this game here. This is my last physical one, unfortunately. End up finishing this right here, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. I used to watch a show when I was younger. I don't have like an undying love for it, right? But I do have a respect for it, and it made me laugh. Now, I even remember picking this up. Like, I remember when I went to a game shop and I picked this up, the guy was like, whoa, they made a Harvey Birdman game on PSP? And I'm like, yeah, they did. Because I had it on PS2. I think a few years ago, I ended up picking up several of the Adult Swim games. So on PS2, I have that, and I have the Aqua Teen Hunger Force golf game, which I still haven't played to this day. I do need to. But then I end up seeing this at a game shop, and it is complete as well, too. So it was cool being able to get that. There is pretty much, I looked it up as well, there's pretty much no difference between the PS2 and the PSP versions. Really, the only difference is the platform and the resolution. But aside from that, even the issues that are present in both games. So it's a pretty parity level port. Like, it's pretty much the same. So if you're, it really just depends. If you want to play it on a TV, play it on PS2. If you want to play it like on the go on like a portable tiny screen or something, play it on PSP. Just do that. This was hilarious though. I loved it. I thought it was great. It got to the point I was playing this game right before bed several nights. So there were a few nights I was like going to bed like laughing as I was playing this game and like kind of like winding down and nodding off. And there were 1 or 2 nights I dreamed about this game. And it was funny because then when I woke up, I was like, okay, I knew that was a dream because that was definitely not a chapter in Harvey Birdman, but it was great. Another thing, I don't think people said this like critically about it, but a lot of people said that it is a Phoenix Wright ripoff. And here's the thing. Right there. Right there. Like, Capcom made this game right here, which by the way, there's a lot of references to Capcom in here, which made it even funnier. So, great game overall. I absolutely loved it. It is a short game. If you're a fan of Harvey Birdman, or even if you're interested, play it. It's great. Then I end up playing this on Steam Deck. I end up playing Dispatch. Now, Dispatch was a game I didn't really know that much about. And it was funny because my youngest brother is the one who got me onto it. Like, he messaged me. He's like, dude, you got to play Have you heard of Dispatch? You should look it up, man. And the big thing that excited him about it was that there was YouTuber voice talent in there. I believe Moist Critical was in there. Alana Pierce was in there. There's 1 or 2 other big names. And then there's also, what is his name? Aaron Paul, I want to say. The guy who plays Jesse from Breaking Bad, he was in there. He's actually the main character. So the voice acting was stellar. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Then I looked up a trailer. And I saw that it was from, they said some of the people who made the Telltale games. And I'm like, what? And it's funny because that's what excited me. And my brother's there. He's never played any of the Telltale games. And he was like, oh, I never play those. I never did. But now, because what we do like Steam, like family sharing. So what ended up happening was we were playing through this here. And I do say I'll talk about that. But it was funny because like as we were playing it, I was telling him about the Telltale games. So now he got me into Dispatch. I got him interested in those ones. So I kind of told him like, dude, they're all on my Steam account. Like, try The Walking Dead Season 1. That is quintessential playing. You should definitely try that. If you don't want to stick to all the seasons immediately, play The Wolf Among Us. I love that one. It's only one season. It's great. Tales from the Borderlands is a really good one as well too. So they're just great games overall, right? So Dispatch was really good. I ended up playing through it, and it was funny because when I was visiting family, my brother and I were playing through this here, and he was really excited. It was like every night. He's like, oh, dude, okay, we're going to do Dispatch. We're going to play Dispatch. And he played through this game like 3 times, so he knew almost everything about it. But he's like, oh, man, it's 8 episodes. And this is the thing, too. It's 8 episodes. They were coming out, but they would come out in pairs. And typically, each episode is about 45 to 60 minutes long. So optimally, I mean, you could do 1 episode at a time, but I think for best pacing, do 2 episodes at a time. That's what we noticed was the best. So we were getting excited playing through these here. He was so excited for me to play this because he wanted to know the paths and how I thought, and even like, I guess like the choices that I was making there, And I ended up surprising him a lot. It was really funny. Like, there were choices he was, I was making. There were choices I did. Some of them he was like, oh, okay, cool, interesting. Even, like, when we were playing through, like, when I was, like, doing the actual dispatching as such of all the characters, like, he was surprised at how good I was doing a lot of the time and kind of how I was, like, seeing things and figuring them out. And I was just like, dude, I'm older than you. I have more life experience. So, like, that's why this makes sense to me. This makes sense to me. But then the other things, too, was he was just like, wow, I didn't know you were going to pick that. Oh, wow, you picked that. Oh, I didn't know. I was like, now you get to know me a little bit more. So it was cool because, like, when I played through the game, I usually like to play these games. Like, I like to put myself in the character's shoes. So I very much make decisions based on how I would do it. And at the end of the game, I can at least, because this is a little more personal, it's not really like spoiling it, but it kind of, sums up how you did. And I really liked what it said. It when it gave me my review, it said something along the lines of, I ended up doing the right things at the right times. And that was cool. A little bit sappy as well, too. I told my girlfriend about that, and she was like, see, that's why I love you. So that's how that goes. But yeah, no, Dispatch was really good. Very much enjoyed it. Now another thing makes sense, too, on it. I'll say this, and I'll move on to the last month. Another thing makes sense on there because I'd seen this months ago, but people had looked at the game data, and apparently if you just look at the game data itself, there's no models, there's no assets or anything in there. There's like, like the engine files themselves, but the game itself is just video files. That's all it is. Yeah, you do have the elements that show up like on the screen or like at the bottom or what have you. Like, the actual game engine files have to be present. But for the actual assets, there's no assets. The game is just all videos. That's it. And people were disappointed by that, and then other people were just like, well, dude, why do you think they didn't include assets in there? Like, come on, just like think for 2 seconds, why didn't they put the actual character assets in there? And if you play the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. It already shares enough. But yeah, the last month, so this month, December, I actually ended up just finishing this here, which admittedly, there's times I do this as well. Like, I've been transparent about. Sometimes if it's like near the end of the month or if I just want to finish something, I'll pick something quick. And I did not expect this, right? I played this years ago. I've only played through it once, though. But on Switch, too. But it is a Switch game. Digital, again, so I can't show this to you. But I ended up playing through A Short Hike. Now, it took me a few days to play through it because I couldn't just like sit down and play it for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. So I ended up finishing that up today, like the day I record this here. However, I ended up playing through A Short Hike, and it was a game I knew before, but I kind of just burned through it before. So this time around, I actually did more of like going around on the island and getting more of the feathers and trying to get more of the unlocks, and it was really rewarding. But I will admit, I don't know where I don't know where my mental was the first time I played it, because I remember like the ending, right? Like, I'll just say this, the ending, I remember like what you do, and I remember that being really beautiful. But there's a conversation you have at the end, and I don't remember that at all. And I think maybe just the first time I played it, I just wasn't really in the right headspace. And I think now I was able to appreciate it. I actually not even think I know I was able to appreciate it more. Because I'm not going to lie, I completely blindsided me. I cried at the end. Like, I'm tearing up a little bit talking about it right now, but like just the conversation that was there, I cried at the end, and like it blindsided me, which made it, you know, even better, because I'm one of those people, whether it's like a TV show, a movie, a game, a song, whatever it is, if a piece of media can make you cry, like, at least for me, that ends up like really shooting it up to the top of like some of the best stuff that I've experienced. And it even includes funny stuff as well too. Like, for example, years ago, when I said that South Park: The Stick of Truth was my game of the year, one of the parts of that was I said that game made me cry. But it didn't make me cry because it was sad. It made me cry because the game was so hilarious that I was doubled over. I fell onto the side of my couch, and my sides were hurting so hard from me laughing that I started crying. That is the only game that's made me laugh so hard that I cried, but that alone, again, I cried. That became my game of the year right there for that year. Either way, that is about it for all the games that I played here. Let me go ahead and put them in a nice little pile yet again. But here we go. These are the physical ones, at least. Some of the physical ones. Like I said, I could have, you know, gotten another placeholder, and I don't have my Expedition 33 with me. But yeah, check it out. These are all the games I ended up finishing this year. Well, not all of them. These are some of them. But if I check the count here, if my count is correct, it was 23 games. So on average, about 2 games a month, which is not bad in my opinion there. So now I'm going to turn it over to you all. If you do this challenge, let me know. If you haven't done it, what do you think of it? And as well too, if you've cataloged the games that you have played, I'd be interested in hearing about that as well too. So it's really cool. That's probably been one of the coolest things about this, right? Because I'll tell you this video doesn't really get that many views. It's probably, like I said, because I have to spend all the time playing these games, it's probably the time, like the video I put the most amount of time and effort into at a technical level. However, it doesn't get the most views, but the community that comes in is really cool because you'll have people comment. And like the coolest thing, man, the coolest thing I have seen has been when people come through and they say, I watched your video last year. I watched your video like 4 years ago and I started doing this. Or like, I try to do it, but like, props to you, man. I couldn't finish a game a month. Like, that's awesome. So seeing those experiences has been really awesome, and that's what has also made this worth it as well too. Last thing on this, I still, even in my personal life, I get this, but occasionally, because I have friends and such who do watch a channel, occasionally I'll have people and like we're playing a game, we're just hanging out or something, they'll just be like, oh, are you still doing that one thing where you like finish a game a month? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, cool. It's awesome. So people ask me about that. Last thing as well. I'm giving my friend a shout out here. Shout out to Tyler. He's one of those people, you know, I play games with. And usually whenever we finish a game, he's like, oh, does this count towards the thing? Does this count towards the game that you finished? And I'm like, yes, it does. And he gets excited every single time. So it's been a really fun challenge, and it's worth doing the videos here for it. So that's all about what I have to say. Anyways, that's about it for this video, you all. Thank you so much for hanging out, listening, watching, enjoying, and maybe commenting as well, too. And if you enjoyed this video, a like would absolutely be appreciated. If you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well, too. But as I always say, this is Mr. Mario, signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. Stay tuned, though. Please stay tuned. The next video is going to be the Game of the Year video. So you all will get to see out of that stack of games, small stack, but including the digital games, what my game of the year was. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off real this time. Later, everyone.